So welcome to our workshop on intuitive collaging. This is one of the moving parts of a mosaic work. A mosaic work we traditionally think is, working with broken ceramic pieces, different found items that we can either press into clay, or we can use plaster, or we can use paper, all types of things. But this aspect of mosaic is more focusing on 3D and 2D foundations using found magazines, old magazines, books, fabric.
And this.
Yes. Oh, and Issa is going to be helping me today. She's going to be demonstrating some of the collage work, and basically, collage is a very intuitive process. I think the most important part of collage work is actually going through the magazines, the books, the different items, and sourcing your materials, what speaks to you the most. So because of time, Issa and I cut out some shapes, cut out some fabric, things like that, so that we could quickly affix them to our foundation. Issa chose to work with a box today. So you can use boxes, you can use glass bottles. Some people like to do collage work with tissue paper. They work really well using glass bottles. And I always suggest that if you're going to be using 3D objects, you want to use a glue gun opposed to using just a regular craft glue, because it would adhere a lot better. So we're going to begin our process first with just becoming present in the room. It's really important to encourage the individuals that you're working with to leave behind anything that they were thinking about on the way to the session, or just letting go. And the best way to do that is through just taking a couple of deep breaths and quieting the mind and the body before we jump into the process. Does that sound good? Okay. So Issa introduced me to a whole new way of breathing that you actually did with your fingers. So if you'd like to guide the meditation, you can do that. You just show your hands and you...
So this is how you do it. It's called mountain breath. So there's 5 fingers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to do...
Okay. And how many should we do? Should we do 3 of these?
2.
Okay. One more. Thank you for that. So the next thing, would you like to work with music or without?
Work with music.
You want to work with music? Do you want to go back to working with Hiatus Coyote?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we had a song that was playing earlier that Issa was connecting to today. And there's going to be times where your clients, it'll be based on your client whether or not you are going to use any type of aromatherapy. Or Issa. Okay. It depends on your client if you are going to use any type of aromatherapy or any music. They may prefer to be quiet and without any scent in the air. It just depends on their sensitivities. So I would base it on that. But we like incense over here. Well, at least I do. I think you just tolerate it, right?
I like it.
Okay, so she likes incense now. And
I always did.
Oh, okay. Well, when I was pregnant, you didn't. I didn't like incense, and that's a lot of glue. You don't need that much glue. You can just put dots in each corner. Okay.
I'll do that next time.
Okay. So, we have some incense, and we're about to put on Hiatus Coyote, Nakamura, and some nice music to work to. So, right now, the focus of the collage, I think, it depends on what your client might be working through. But with Issa and I today, it's just, I think, going to be more about how she's feeling today.
And I'm feeling artsy and intergalactic, Mommy.
I didn't didn't hear you said artsy and what?
Intergalactic.
Artsy and intergalactic is how she's feeling. So the items that she's cutting out, we're going to see what story it tells about her feeling artsy and intergalactic. So,
as you can see, I already did.
You want to show your box? You can show. Mm-hmm. So she's already begun to piece together her collage, and she has done a combination of pictures with cutout items and still building it. And a lot of the things that we're using, I don't know if you can see, but I cut out some wool felt shapes. I have some styrofoam balls because when you're working in 3D, you can, you can make anything you want, pretty much.
I'm going to use it. Are you going to use this?
No, I'm not going to use
so
that.
I'm going to just use it.
And for this, since we're working in 3D, this is the glue gun that we're using.
It's
you can,
purple. I love that.
Yes, and we can get this from just about any arts and crafts store. We got this from Michael's for about $3.99 maybe, or even less. And then we also got a bag of glue sticks to go with it, and that was probably about $2 and change. So it really doesn't. That's the other thing too. Collage is very accessible, and it's cost efficient. Most of the time, you will be able to find old magazines that someone might have thrown away in their recycling. You might be able to just find some old books somewhere that no one's using. It could be buttons. It could be stickers. It could be just about anything that you were thinking about getting rid of and you now have an opportunity to repurpose. And the reason, like I said, that it's called intuitive collage because the most intuitive part of it is during your sourcing. The reason for the breathing prior to starting is really just to open the way to see where you're guided, to see where you're led as far as the images that you begin to collect and the words that you begin to collect. So
I did it in both corners, Mommy.
Yes. So, Issa, you want to talk a little bit about your process? What are you doing right now?
I'm just putting stuff together right now. I'm not going to tell you the story. It's a secret.
The story's a secret. Okay. Do you feel like the story is still coming together?
This story is a intergalactic artsy dance party. Okay. And this one is just things I got together, like just how the Earth moves and how it.
Okay, and who is
For now, I'm gonna call her Maya.
Maya, okay. And this is the world that she lives in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like her clothes a lot. Her shoes are
as
great.
you see, there's a strawberry.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna let Issa continue to work on it. And the main thing I think with intuitive collage is that you are bringing an open mind, an open heart, and your imagination. It's more about you encouraging clients to be dedicated to the process and not necessarily the outcome, like how it looks to them. You want them to focus more on how it feels, the placement on whatever foundation they're using, whether it's paper, whether it's a 3D object. You want them to be guided to it. For me, this process is not something that I need to be really hands-on with. I just want to make sure that everyone's using the items safely. And
so they don't hurt themselves.
Right, so they don't hurt themselves, especially with the glue gun. I would suggest with the glue gun that we do that with older children, probably from the ages of 7 and up.
8.
Well, you're 8 now, but you learned how to use a glue gun when you were 7. So I would say 7 and up. Definitely with some supervision because it can get very hot. But with the craft glue, it should be fine. And also the scissors, making sure that depending on what age groups you're working with, that you're working with safety scissors. We want to make sure that everybody comes out of the experience happy and feeling good. And before I end it, I just wanted to, one second, baby. I just wanted to, I think it's important that once you finish up the whole process, that you offer some reflective questions. So these are some of the questions that if it's appropriate, you can ask. So were you aware that this story lived inside of you?
Yes.
How does it feel to release it? Would you like to share the story or your collage? That's optional because they may or may not. What was the process like for you? Did you find it helpful? Would you continue this practice? What might you change about it? And due to time, because I'm already going over, I just wanted to sort of show some examples of some collages that I worked on for a different class, but it's still the same as far as collage work. And then, like I said, it doesn't have to be one thing. I mixed and matched, like working with chalk and oil pastels with some of the images, words, and pictures. So this is one that had a lot to do with this is actually from the Map of Theories project that we had that was talking more about the type of therapeutic practice that I want to create and who I am as a therapist. And so some of you may have seen this before, I'm sure, but I did want to just show, just show it again, that collage can be so many different things.
It could be paper,
it could
3D things, anything.
It really could be.
It only matters if you come from your mind and your heart.
That's right. So Issa, thank you so much for helping me today.
You're welcome.
Okay.
I'm going to keep going.
Okay, thank you. And the population that this is intended for, it can be, I think it's a good intervention to use with children, adults alike, couples as well, depending on what challenges you're working through. But specifically, we were looking at children who were moving through separation or divorce, and a lot of times it's really difficult to have those conversations, to articulate their feelings. And I find working with the 3D objects is really helpful because a lot of times it may become this container or house or something like that they begin to shape the story of their preferred futures or even how they may be feeling about, what's happening at the present moment. So thank you so much. I hope that this was helpful, and I look forward to hearing feedback about how it worked for you within your client experiences. All right, take care.